There's a new airline in South Africa.
There is.
Lift.
Getting airborne when?
December, allegedly.
This is awesome news. I mean, airlines have closed down, but to have a new one starting up, and one with what appears to be very good backing. It's going to have Gidon Novik involved. He's got experience in the industry, and looks like it's going to be a successful outfit. I can't wait to see what this turns into.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what's going to come of it, because they are going to be following this Uber concept, which I still can't find much news on.
I can't get my head around what that exactly is.
Yeah, so I'm very interested to see what that's going to be all about.
Yeah, I also don't know, but it's an exciting prospect nonetheless. I assume from a pilot side, they're going to probably use the existing global guys on the route. I don't know. There hasn't been much word of that. I see Global have been interviewing hosties the last week, so maybe that's something to do with it. But exciting nonetheless, and look forward to seeing what that's all about.
Global's going to manage all the operations, won't they?
I believe so.
Well, that's how they've managed to sort of kick off so quickly, is Global's got all the airline infrastructure behind them already. Gidon Novik and his team are just adding the brand behind it, and putting it all together and kicking off in December.
Look, there's nothing better for the industry than competition, so I'm chuffed that the guys are starting up.
Yeah.
Oh, great news. Look forward to seeing it. But on the important side, what do you think of our new studio?
Loving
Thought you'd never ask.
Yeah, very chuffed. I'm super happy that we're in here, guys. It's nice, neat, clean, much
And
better.
if anybody hasn't watched our YouTube channel, now is the reason to. I know you would watch to see the three of us, but now you got a studio to look at as well.
Yeah, a few other improvements we need to make. We're going to work on the sound still. We've got a couple of other little finishing touches, but it's coming. And we're quite proud of it. So thanks for joining us today. Sticking with South African news, guys. Let's talk about SACS. Final liquidation extended to the 28th of January 2021. This is the longest soap opera in the history of long soap operas. It just keeps going on and on and on.
Why are they just dragging it out? Why not just make a decision, sort it out?
It's about giving the liquidator enough time to, basically, if it goes into final liquidation now, the licenses and the certificates are all gone. So by extending the liquidation, it keeps all those in play so that the preferred new owner, which is a group called Fly SACS, can take over the airline. Fly SACS are not interested in taking over the CRJs. They're not flyable anymore anyway.
No.
I saw one advertised. I think it was about 200,000 rand advertised for a CRJ 200. There was another one.
200,000 rand.
Price of a small car.
I think November Mike Charlie, I think it was, for 58,000 rand a bid was put in.
I don't think that airplane's even worth that, but anyway.
Well, it might be in terms of Coke cans. I mean, you could take the metal, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that whole thing is going to be delayed till next year. So it's carried over into 2021. Can you believe it?
It's frustrating for all the staff, I mean, they're looking for some sort of closure and they want a resolution to all of this, and it's just dragging out and out. I wish it would just get resolved and they could call it quits and people could just move on.
That auction will be on the 18th of November for the CRJs. So if you're looking for a CRJ, now's the time to buy one.
I think we should go to the auction.
Yeah, let's go check it out.
And check that out. That'll be interesting.
I'll go play golf or something that day.
SAA 10.5 billion.
Yeah, hasn't gone down well in the market.
No, it hasn't.
At all.
There's none there for the SABC or the Post Office or Denel. SABC and the Post Office don't really care.
Do they even exist anymore?
No. Denel, obviously another aviation side, no money for. But 10.5 billion allocated to SAA for the bailout. Something interesting, Ryan. You've got an SAA ticket booked for 20th of December. I went onto SAA's website last night and I put old Pilot Parrock's name in there.
Okay.
With your ID number.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I used my email address, but I booked you a ticket to Cape Town.
Serious?
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate
right
that.
Up until the page where I have to put my credit card details in. I didn't do that.
No, you couldn't have used my credit card details.
There's no money in there. But this morning when I woke up, I got an email from SAA, and it said, Mr. Ryan Parrock, tickets are selling fast on this route, and we are holding your ticket for another X amount of hours or whatever. Pay for your ticket now to ensure you can keep your seat.
You joking?
I promise you. And I thought, that's not right.
So they're taking cash.
Well, listen, I didn't go into paying for the ticket, but I went onto the SAA website and I booked a ticket to Cape Town. And right up until the page where it said, pay for this ticket with your credit card. And I thought, that is not fair. There might be some people around that aren't aware of the whole situation, that actually used to buying tickets on SAA, so they jump on the website and go and buy a ticket. I thought that was a bit of a disgrace, and I hope they're flipping change it. Do it the Saks way. Go on there and it said this website doesn't exist. But that was even while we were still operating. That was when we were still operating. It didn't exist. But I mean, come on, man.
So what are the chances that SAA will be operational by then?
0.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, there's no chance, particularly in December. If at all next year. I mean, look at the competition that they're going to have to come up against. I mean, they're wasting their time.
Well, they're going to have Lyft, going to be operational. They got Safair, which are firing on all their cylinders, and Airlink are growing at a rate of knots. So their competition is massive. And not just that, if you listen to what Roger Foster's been saying, Airlink them and Safair, I mean, they're going aggressively into the market to get that market share. And once you've got that market share, difficult to get it back. But anyway, that bailout is secure. And I mean, I just when I looked at that, I thought, I hope there's not some older couple that looking at going to visit their grandchildren or something, and they go and book on an SAA, and then they get let down. I thought that's a disgrace. I tried to book you one to New York, and then it said this route is not available. But domestically, it was still allowing tickets. Now, I can't guarantee.
The New York route is not available because USA is on the shutdown list. So they've managed to update the website for that potentially.
Maybe.
But not the fact that...
And like I say, I didn't actually pay for the ticket, but it went all the way to the point where it said, put your details in.
But just a question. I mean, now that I think of it, they're not perhaps selling tickets on behalf of Mango then? Putting it out there, I'm not sure.
Possibly.
How it all works.
Could very well be.
Possibly. But
not trying to defend them or anything, but it's still not rather redirect them to Mango, who are operational.
You might be right. It could possibly be that. But anyway, I just thought...
you talk of SAA and getting operational again, whatever the case may be. I think what people are forgetting as well is South Africa is slowly but surely losing its grip on becoming or on being a travel hub. Which SAA used to rely on. People flying in from New York and Australia and all that, and connecting. With the way the African market is growing and the airlines are getting up and going, we're not so much of a hub, not going to be. And they're going to lose that market share.
Well, you've got your Washington into Accra flight that comes in. Now Egypt Air has got an agreement with the Ghanaian government, so that is expanding. Ghana government is doing an agreement with Libya. Probably Ghana and Ethiopia are heavily connected. So the new hubs are North Africa now.
Yeah.
South Africa, few and far between.
But in a strange way, are we not even more connected now with Airlink going about their business the way they are? I mean, they fly to the most destinations in South Africa, and now they've got interline agreements with nearly everyone: Qatar, Emirates, BA, KLM, Air France, United. Where can't you go on an Airlink?
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is there really a need for an SAA anymore? I don't think so. Why?
We've always said, I like seeing an SAA flag or South African flag when you're walking through the airport at Frankfurt or something like that. There's a passion behind it, and it's just so sad that it's been let down to the point now where you think, is it even recoverable? I doubt it.
Look, I mean, I think everyone is happy that for the staff members of SAA, they've got income for a little bit. It's not going to last. We know within 12 months they're going to be asking for another bailout because the management is not there. I don't know what they're going to do with management, but I can't imagine it's going to change with government intervention. So it's a temporary ease and relaxation for the staff, but
they're going to need investors as well to take on the debt, and equity investors, of which venture capitalists looking to get into that segment right now, the aviation segment, few and far between, unless they're seeing it as an opportunity. And that's why Gidon Novik and Global are quite well positioned now, because they're launching this at just the right time. But if you've got this existing dead weight that you're trying to carry until you get to that point, it's going to be very difficult.
Well, Ethiopian, they wanted to come in, provide management expertise, all of that, but they want nothing to do with the existing debt. Nobody in their right mind, no investor is going to take that on.
No, exactly.
I can't see it happening.
And that's what I'm driving at as well, is why have that drain on the economy? I mean, look at how much money has been taken out of other very necessary departments in our country, like the police department. Money's been taken away from the police department to fund this bailout for SAA. I mean, what's going to be more important going forward? But anyway, I could go on about that all day.
All you're doing is taking money out of some back pocket and pushing it into another back pocket.
The taxpayers is going to end up, and there are less and less taxpayers.
It's like one of those situations when you tight on cash and you're transferring from your one credit card to the other one.
Robbing from Peter to pay Paul.
But
look, I think it's great that the staff get a little bit of reprieve there.
Of course.
But it's the survival of the strongest. They're not going to survive. Not against Lyft, not against Airlink, not against FlySafair.
Comair should be up and running by then.
Yeah.
A big competition. Safair, did you see what happened? One passenger got booted off a Safair flight.
Yeah, for not wearing a mask.
Not wearing a mask.
It's happening all over the world.
Refused to wear a mask. But how stupid. You know you're going to get kicked off the flight. Now he's banned from Safair for life. And I don't know where that was. I think it was a Durban flight. Yeah. Semair flying to Hoedspruit now, Joburg Hoedspruit.
I really haven't seen that, but that's
in Namibia. Yeah, in Namibia's now coming into Joburg and Cape Town as well.
Yeah,
and I like the fact that they've opened up. They've got no restrictions. Namibia now, holiday travel, absolutely no issue. It's really good that they've stepped up there.
Airlink's name change, no longer SA Airlink, so that relationship with SAA is now officially cut. It was a 23 or 24 year franchise agreement with SAA. It's now come to an end. But with all these interline agreements, it's almost like when you see someone get out of an abusive relationship and then they go and spread their wings, make all these connections. Airlink are doing that, and they're expanding. I think without that old ball and chain, they can do it with relative ease. Wishing them all the best. So
for sure.
With their new name, Airlink. African news, guys. Nigeria, Airpeace going to be flying to Johannesburg.
Yep.
One of our clients here at Samiro. 3 times a week that flight, Joburg, Lagos.
FastJet in Zimbabwe are launching flights between Joburg and Vic Falls as well. Interested to see how that's going to work out for them, because until leisure travel is opened up and allowed, I think it's going to be a tight route for them. But yeah, very interesting.
Mauritius as well, they're now coming back in. So for specific nationals, anyone with residence or long stay travellers, So Mauritius has opened up.
They got a couple
looking
more.
forward to Air Mauritius, a client of Samira as well on the ATR.
Yeah.
Looking forward to them to come and train here.
They got a couple more A350s at their disposal because the SAA ones were put back on the Mauritian registrar.
Yes.
Yeah. So, airline news, guys. Did you see Qatar had a flight the other day, or they took delivery and purchased a lease agreement for 3 A350-1000 aircraft. How crazy is this, Brett, from a commercial point of view? They flew those aircraft from France through the UK airspace and then down to Doha. They didn't just go from France all the way to Doha. Do you know why? It was in the contract, in the leasing contract, that at some point those aircraft had to fly over the UK.
For what purpose?
That was in the contract. So they flew them all the way through the UK and then down.
You know,
Why
at
not
a
just
time
waste
when-
a couple
exactly.
$100,000?
You know, people are
Trying to save bucks.
and these guys. I don't know.
Yeah, crazy, mental.
But what's mental is someone agreed to that in the contract.
But,
In the lease agreement, yeah.
they did that thing as well where I think it was Qatar. They took an airplane with 3 female crew members and they went and flew a pattern of the ribbon in the sky over Doha for celebrating Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't.
Look, I'm all for raising awareness, and I think it's a good cause and all that. But I mean, to take an A350 and go and spend 2 hours, drawing patterns in the sky that you can see on flight radar, it's burning
Well,
cash.
Yeah.
You know what? The cash is being burnt regardless.
Yeah.
People doing it all over the world.
Yeah.
Airlines just having a look at the cost of some of these aircraft that, Airbus are pushing up to 6,000 320 Neos by 2025. That's what their book is. Can you imagine the book value of that?
Yeah, they projected that airplane's going to take the place of the 757 for most airlines because of its range and all that.
Yeah. Cathay situation is a bit dire. I've spoken to quite a few South African guys that have been affected by the Cathay Dragon situation, or Cathay closing down that Cathay Dragon arm, which is a bit sad. Staying with Cathay, they got an order, talking about aircraft, for a whole bunch of 777Xs. Boeing reckon they can only deliver those around 2022. Cathay have delayed that to 2025, obviously because of how things are there in Hong Kong. What we mustn't forget, Hong Kong they had all the protests. This is a long time prior to the pandemic. With the pandemic on top of it, from what these guys are saying, Hong Kong's in bad shape. It's not these airlines are not. It's not just going to recover overnight. This is a long-term recovery.
But Hong Kong's got greater issues than just the airlines, and
Yeah.
that's what I imagine is delaying that expansion and moving back to those levels. I mean, we've seen those riots. I mean, it's been going on for months now.
Yeah.
And the entire economic situation is a lot harder there for them.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Boeing 777. See, Delta Airlines are retiring their Boeing 777 fleets. This will be tomorrow.
Are they replacing with 777Xs, or what's the plan there?
I
Don't
think
quite
it's
know.
going to be more A350s and that. They're going to be doing their last Boeing 777 flight from New York to LA tomorrow. That's it.
We're touching now on the manufacturer stuff. Can we talk about this whole Boeing situation a little bit? Because I'm quite interested in this whole thing. By the looks of it, they can't give 777Xs away right now.
No.
It's the right aircraft at the wrong time. Brilliant plane, but they can't get rid of them. It's too big. The gauge is too big. A little bit like the A380. It's massive. So Boeing are being a bit stumped by that. On top of that, going to Airbus, they delivered their first assembled A220 from the Alabama plant to Delta. Okay. And the big thing, obviously, they're being made in America now. But if you compare the Boeing situation, Boeing's deal with Embraer has fallen flat, or Boeing pulled out of that deal. Listening to the Embraer CEO the other day, he seems to think there might be there's going to be more to the story. Embraer might not take this lying down. They might fight this, because what they had to do, Embraer went and started shutting down manufacture plants. They started right-sizing their company size because it was signed, and then Boeing pulled out. So it left Embraer in quite a tight position, but it's left Boeing in a horrendous position. They don't have an A220 competitor because they no longer have the E-Jet side from Embraer. They don't have a A321 competitor. That Boeing NMA project, do you know what NMA stands for?
No.
It's a real advanced name. Normal mid-sized airplane. That's,
technical.
Yeah, 220 to 270 passengers they plan on that aircraft, and that's to replace the 75 and 767, and a competitor against the A321 XLR. They've spoken to Rolls-Royce about engine or power unit providers, but the media hype about this has basically come to a standstill, and you wonder whether Boeing have just laughed this off. I doubt they can even start manufacture on a new aircraft right now. So it leaves them in a very difficult position going forward. Analysts reckon if Boeing even think about getting a new aircraft type, it would be absurd. This all the while that we're still waiting for the MAX to get in the air. So it doesn't leave Boeing in a strong position at all. And if you compare them to the big competitor Airbus, that A220 is doing well. It's a beautiful aircraft.
It is.
They got it
Very
at the
nice
right
aircraft.
time for a steal from Bombardier.
Yep.
That whole project basically bankrupt Bombardier, but the product is a good product, and it's now an Airbus product.
The way Boeing has been handled over the last couple of years, it makes me wonder in a decade whether Boeing is going to be that old dinosaur, because they're just making wrong decisions on everything. I'm not sure what is happening from a management perspective. I don't know what it is, but there's issues with Boeing. There has been, and they just seem to be getting worse and worse. It's just weird, strange.
Yeah. Did you see that IATA cash burn prediction? I don't want to get negative about it because you read stuff all the time. And I'm so sick of reading articles. Do you guys find this as well? Every single article starts off by the airline industry has been grossly affected by the I mean, do they have to have that line at the top of every single sentence? But they reckon in this last second half of the year, airlines are going to burn through about $77 billion. Yeah. That's $300,000 a minute. And they're not going to become cash positive until 2022. That's a real grim picture, and obviously that's due to the second wave of this pandemic in Europe. Obviously the December forecast down 68 from last year, and you don't want to always mention last year because we can't compare.
No.
It's not comparing apples with apples.
No, it's not.
Interesting article though. I'll leave those details in the show notes from that their IATA DG and CEO Alexandre de Juniac.
But even with all of that burn and the negativity, at least the airlines are operating. That's the positive thing. I mean, if you just look at someone like Japan Airlines, they're operating 149 of their 169 aircraft.
Yeah.
So they are in full swing, and they're probably not going to bring the remaining 20 in because they're going to get rid of them. But so effectively, they're operating at full capacity, which is, despite all the news, we always remember, bad news sells. Good news, nobody's interested in.
I think what's going to be a saving grace for a lot of these airlines as well is the introduction of these packs to freighter conversions. I see launch customer Qantas are the first for the A321 packs to freighter conversion aircraft. And it's, I don't know how much you know about it, but did some reading up on it, and they're taking older airframes and then instead of just chucking them in the desert, converting them to freighters and everything, and extending the life and the commercial viability of those aircraft. So it's going a long way to keep the airlines.
And staying with that, there's a few operators doing sort of combi flights again.
It's going back to that,
Going back to combi, so partial freight, partial packs. I think Qatar are doing that in a 350.
Yes, yeah.
I think, yeah. A bit more positive, those 1 hour coronavirus pre-flight tests that they're doing in the UK, that's up and running. It could be the start, or at least the start, of the turning point in the UK. Because, you know, Heathrow is no longer the busiest airport in Europe.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Charles de Gaulle now.
Yep.
Which is a shock, because Heathrow was by far the busiest airport in the UK, or in Europe, sorry.
It'll be interesting to see how that pans out going forward, because as we see, Europe is going into lockdown again, a massive one. I don't know how extensive it's going to be. I don't know what the
their lockdowns
limitations are going to be.
So different to ours, because they flew through, I mean, aviation-wise, carried on. So is it going to...
I don't think their lockdowns were as hardcore as ours were in South Africa. But let's not talk about that too loudly, because maybe our
esteemed
governments get a whiff of that and then decide maybe it's a good idea to chuck us back in. I know there's already been
there's lots of talk
a
about
lot of fake news earlier this week about that, but hopefully that doesn't happen.
But the president did report on News 24, which is always accurate, that was all nonsense.
That's our go-to place for the truth.
And they do have a tendency to change their minds at a whim, like someone else I know very well.
Yeah.
You and I will chat.
Have you been watching Chasing the Sun on DSTV about the Springboks tour of Japan, or their winning of the World Cup in Japan? Rassie, the coach, changed his mind quite drastically just before the Wales game, and he says, if you've got new information, you can change your mind, so just keep quiet there. I've got some LinkedIn tips, Brett.
Bring him.
I found a really interesting article this week. I'm going to leave it in the show notes. It's one of these guys that his name's Richard Bliss. He's I follow him. I'm not connected with him. But long story short, it was about the LinkedIn algorithm. A lot of people still contacting us about LinkedIn, or asking for help here and there. And there's like this air of anxiety around the platform, or there's definitely an air of anxiety around putting content out there. And what this whole article is about is when to put it out, the right time, how to put it out, the difference between a comment and a like, posting two posts in too close proximity to each other. Tuesdays are a good day to post. Did you know that? Tuesdays between 8 and 10, and Saturdays and Sundays, they reckon, good times to post. Something quite interesting, I mean, because we're trying to use this information as well. A YouTube video on LinkedIn is not regarded as, it doesn't see YouTube as something native to the site. So the algorithm doesn't actually push it. So what you actually have to do is, if you want to push someone to a YouTube video, then perhaps comment on your own post with the link to the YouTube, but don't have your YouTube video sitting there as a post in itself. And I've noticed that if you post something on there, there's certain things that it stays there for longer, and others that it loses traction straight away. So there are little tips and tricks there, but have a look at that article. And that's where I found that bit of, what was it, your social selling index. Yes. I got old Pilot Parrock to check his social selling index, which wasn't nearly as high as the legendary host over here. So I'm encouraging him to go and post a bit more.
Well, it's always positive to see that you're helping the needy.
That's it.
He's always been there for that. He's very good.
And carrying on, there's another guy.
I'm just gonna.
You just keep quiet.
I'm gonna sit in my corner and keep quiet. Because
have you heard of a guy, Mike Winnett?
I've heard the name.
Have you seen his stuff?
No.
There's a lot of people now that they're trying to 10x their life.
Oh man, I hate
do
that
all this
too.
stuff.
10x.
So
really?
They're seeing, we're talking about positivity, be positive, go out there, and people are paying a lot of money to do these courses, and they're nonsense. And this guy, he rips them apart.
It was such a
He
funny
rips
video.
them
I've got to go
apart.
and watch that.
It's
I think I'm going to
brilliant.
enjoy it.
He goes on and he basically just shows that this is a scam through and through. You don't need to pay for an online course to change your life. The only person that can change your life is yourself.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
100%.
and people are being ripped off by these con artists.
People are desperate. People want to see something, and if the typical American way, I'll tell you how to do it. I'm going to change your life. The rah rah rah, and everyone
wads
jumps
of
in.
cash and
Man,
Lamborghinis.
yeah.
You can have this if you buy my 10 DVD course and invest X amount of money.
Yeah, it's all a
And
facade.
people are being conned. It's not just a case, we can laugh about it, but people are actually being conned and paying for this stuff, and it's absolute rubbish.
The Matthew McConaughey interview with Joe Rogan was hilarious, where this one guy in Austin, Texas, has hired this brand new Lamborghini purely for a photo shoot for his Tinder profile. And while he was there, two other guys said, "Hey, can we pay you $50 so we can take pictures for our Tinder profile?" So it's fake. Everything is fake. You got to be so careful.
You got to be so careful.
Yeah, no. What a joke.
But anything else from you guys?
I just like the India SpiceJet moving to
Seaplanes. Yeah.
Secured 18 routes. I just thought that was brilliant. That's the guys thinking out of the box and saying, well, what can we do?
Changing things up.
Yeah.
Jet Airways there in India as well. Shout out to our Indian supporters, actually.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
did a check the other day to see where a lot of our downloads on the podcast were coming from, and we've got a huge support base in India. So
Amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Jet Airways there, they seem about as resilient as Alitalia and SAA, because they just will not go away. They've been bankrupt so many times, but it looks like they're getting funding again to start up again. And it's a similar situation with the whole SAA story. A lot of unhappiness about that. I don't know enough about it. I need to look at it a bit more. I couldn't find a huge amount of news about it, but Jet Airways, will be flying again.
And Ethiopian just taken 2 more Q400s, just arrived.
Yeah, I think
So
they're
they're
now
expanding
the biggest operator of Q400s in Africa, at least. So
Yeah, they must be.
Yeah.
Please subscribe to the show, everyone. We're growing, we're enjoying it. We're here to stay. We're not one of these podcasts that's going to start and then stop. We are here every week. We need your support. We want to support you. And thanks for everything. Thanks for getting us here every morning bright and early to do the show. And hope you enjoyed our new studio.
We did.
We did.
And
Yeah,
we're going
we
to
love it.
continue enjoying it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Until next week.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers for now.